Get on board the Bernie bus train. Come get on board the Bernie bus train. Once you hear that clickety-clack, there ain't no time for turning back. Oh, get on board the Bernie bus train. Good morning, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Bernie or Bust Show. We're talking today about the politics of fear and intimidation. And no, we're not talking about the Republican Party. We're talking about the Democrats. Cathy Copeland-Padden serves it up beautifully for us today. The politics of fear and intimidation, Democratic Party fail, number 982546. Here's Daffy Duck saying, "Vote blue or you're deplorable, despicable." As expected, the establishment Democrats are playing a new round of the burner blame game, just in time to taint the 2020 election. And she's talking about regular voters. She's not just talking about the establishment media. She's not just talking about banksters and Hollywood talent agencies and the other suspects who have a lot more money than we do. She's talking about regular people who vote blue no matter who. They're out there everywhere, our little blue wave buddies, baiting arguments, eating brunch, or waxing sanctimonious about voting blue no matter who. Yeah, no can do. Every 5.5 seconds. They seem to be actively courting scorn, contempt, and verbal abuse, even from the more sane factions of their own party. I suppose there's a certain logic behind it. This way, if they fail miserably once again, they can blame every single person who's not a straight-ticket Dem for saying all those mean, awful, true things that cost them elections. Suddenly, you will experience the most robust sense of déjà vu as the heady realization of your formidable power comes over you in waves. Shit! If I get on Facebook and call someone a shrill pantsuit-wearing succubus or even worse, suggest Democrats stop taking corporate money, I can change the course of an entire election. Worship me, mere mortals. I can't tell you, and I'm in agreement here with Cathy, I also can't tell you how many times I've been cyber attacked by vote blue no matter who Democrats when I've had the nerve to suggest they might want to conjure up at least some semblance of a platform if they're going to earn our votes. And perhaps one that isn't so eerily similar to the GOP's this time around, because right now the only significant differences between the two are gay wedding cake and abortion. Oh, that's so good. You go, Cathy. None of this even registers with the blue wave brunch bunch anyway. She's got the brunch word in here to signify that the blue wave people are elitist. They're privileged. And if you listen to Crystal Ball on the Hill, they're white, overwhelmingly white, well-educated. They like Elizabeth Warren, especially if they make over $100,000 a year. If they make over $200,000 a year, they like her twice as much. So to go back to Cathy, they are too busy gasping like beached halibut over the concept of voters expecting the hallowed Democratic Party to earn their vote. What insubordination! Ungrateful peasants. So you get this condescending elitism. The establishment Democrats insist in all seriousness that their party doesn't need to serve any other purpose aside from being an alternative to Trump, dealing with pressing domestic and foreign policies, saving the drowning working class, and ridding ourselves of corporate-owned candidates on both sides of the aisle is secondary to sour grapes on the grandest scale in American history. The Dems may suck at winning elections, but they are the undisputed masters of self-sabotage and mass delusion. It's almost awe-inspiring in its idiocy. They will furthermore proclaim, their voices taut with thinly veiled hysteria, that anyone who thinks the Democrats owe the American people a bit more than a dartboard with a marmalade moron's face on it is either a Republican, a Bernie bot, guilty, or one of the dreaded Russian trolls that now run all of our lives and the entire known universe like vile vodka-swilling, meme-making puppet masters. Russian bots made me do this. So if you hate this article, take it up with them. Very clever. But really, what the hey, guys? What's with all the Democrats' bitterness and venom? After screwing everyone out of Bernie and thereby gifting us with Trump, millions of voters flipped you the bird. But not the Bernie bird. But amazingly, not everyone damned you to hell for all eternity and deserted you. Many have been willing to come together in a spirit of compromise with the hope that their progressive aims would become party priorities after FUBAR 2016. There are millions of independents that would gladly cast a vote for a progressive Democrat. You know, like that wildly popular independent senator from Vermont whose name sounds kind of like Hermie Chambers. Try it and watch the votes roll in, just like the good old days. Because a lot of people really do want to vote for the Democrats in 2020 and beyond. Truly, the GOP is an unsalvageable pile of suck. But there could be hope for you guys yet if you just stop being so stubborn and realize the people call the shots, not the DNC party officials. Make presidents great again! Bernie 2020. Visualize President's Day 2021. Hint, hint. Oh, she is a treasure. Now let's go to Facebook jail. We have to visit a prisoner. Victor Tiffany was cast into Facebook jail for posting, and not even that repeatedly, posting an episode of the Bernie or Bust Show, episode 119. This is from Victor. He said, "This violated the community standards against spam and got me thrown in Facebook jail for posting Bernie or Bust, episode 119. Is it already too late?" They don't want you to know this, apparently. They're throttling down Bernie or Bust messages. They're throttling down this television show. Google is YouTube. They're making it difficult for you to receive notifications for this show. Twitter suspended my Facebook account for posting this show directly to Elizabeth Warren. So we've got the powers against us. If you want to go to this Facebook page and express sympathy for Victor, it's called Bernie or Bust Forever. Feel free to join that group. I'm a moderator of that group. Now, we've got a podcast here by George, number 111. I think that's a harbinger of good. Episode 111, if you're a numbers person. Deadly Gender Reveal plus Bernie Busters. So I jumped ahead in this podcast to 17 minutes and 46 seconds. If you'd like to do the same, or if you would like to watch the whole podcast, I'll link to it in the information box. Here's what's going on in this interview with Victor Tiffany at 17 minutes and 46 seconds. This podcast is glitchy, so hopefully it'll start here in a second, or I'll have to refresh it. Let me bump it here. All right, I'm going to skip. If it comes back, I'll jump over here to it. I'm going to skip ahead to this one. This is Victor's proclamation that only Bernie can beat Trump. I'll play a little bit of this, and then hopefully we can go back.
Why?
Oh, there he is.
As bad and as grotesque as Donald Trump is, he's got economic wins at his back, and this is why we very carefully, condition our forecasts, our foregone conclusion on these economic conditions. You don't unseat a president when economic times are good, when unemployment is low, when inflation is low, when the stock market's doing well, and consumer confidence is up. All current conditions. So it's going to be a close election. And that 20% of burners from last time will be more than enough to slide this election over to Trump. And so that's why, I'm not a prophet. I'm not saying this is a foregone conclusion because I can see the future. I'm saying this is a foregone conclusion because we're looking at the writing on the wall. We know certain numbers are in place, and there's a lot of distrust for certainly for Biden, he hasn't got a chance, no matter what the polls are saying.
Agreed.
But even Elizabeth Warren's going to be defeated.
No, I think you're exactly right. I told people on the podcast early on when the the first 20 were announced. I said, "There's 3 candidates I can guarantee you will not win. I have a better chance of winning than Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, or Pete Buttigieg." I mean, I'm just looking at reality here and the way Americans vote and the way the electorate is, and it ain't happened with either one of those 3. And then I look at Bernie and I tell folks this. I say, my wife was a precinct captain, Victor, back in before 2016, and she ran around the neighborhoods, door to door, by herself, talking up Bernie, getting people to turn out and vote. We won our precinct. I mean, she really worked hard on it. And she gets home and finds out that in other precincts here in Iowa, they were tied. The caucuses were, and there were 12 that had to be decided by a coin flip, and Hillary Clinton won 12. Coin flips.
Yeah, I remember that.
12, I mean, that's the kind of serendipity that was going on in 2016. And so Bernie actually won Iowa, any way you look at it, maybe just on the science of coin flips, if nothing else. He also won Minnesota, he won Michigan, and he won Wisconsin. Well, you put those 4 states in the Electoral College as blue states, and Trump loses. So,
Right, and that's not something Elizabeth, Pete, or Joe can do. Now, this is a little bit of the numbers behind Victor's proclamation, which is absolutely spot on, and that's why he keeps getting thrown in jail, is because they don't want you to know what he's saying. This is undeniable, irrefutable, and you can't wave it away. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people in conversation go, nah.
What we do know is by themselves, these people right here caused Hillary Clinton the election. So
you can't really see it, but this side that he's circling around is Bernie or Trump. And this side is people who voted for Jill Stein or maybe even a libertarian. And then these are people who didn't vote. And he's talking about the power. Now, you can't reason with Bernie or Trumpers, and they're not Bernie or Busters, and they're going to do what they're going to do. We can't wave the red flag and make them stop. That train isn't going to stop. So you've got these Bernie or Trumpers he's going to circle and talk about, and you got the Bernie or Busters. This tall column, 80%, voted for Hillary. So those, to me, aren't the true progressives if they can vote for a neoliberal corporate sock puppet. But these burners, these 3 categories of burners, are uncontrollable. They've got a big head of steam up. You might talk some sense into these, but the others, it's what the guy said a second ago about what he knows about the electorate. These are people who are hurting. These are people who are not going to vote for a Democrat, no matter what. These are not necessarily Democrats. A lot of these voters here in these 3 columns are not Democrats. They're just Bernie supporters.
Combine Bernie or Trumpers with Bernie or Busters, and there's no question this 20% of Bernie supporters not only caused defeat of the neoliberal centrist Democrat in 2016, they will do it again.
Guaranteed.
We are certain of that. These 2 groups, the Bernie or Busters and the Bernie or Trumpers, are going to cause, whether its nominee is Elizabeth Warren or the nominee is Joe Biden or Buttigieg, whoever, they're going to cause the election to go to Trump again. Now, here's Paul.
And then he goes through other things that we've covered often on the Bernie or Bust show. We've laid this out for you if you go back and watch other episodes of the Bernie or Bust show. You can also go to the Revolt Against Plutocracy YouTube channel, 444 subscribers. This video only has 2 likes. It only has 16 views. And there are lots of reasons for that. But if you would like to support this cause, one of the most powerful ways you can do it is get this word out, this foregone conclusion that nobody seems to know about. And some people just wave it away because they don't want to know. But there are a lot of people who just honestly have never heard this. And it's not going to happen through the corporate news. They're not going to hear about it that way. So So please work with us to get around the blockade. Subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Victor's channel. Read all of the links underneath these videos, especially on the Bernie or Bust television network. Underneath every episode is a pile of links that you can go to. Read articles, read other leftist commentators, and you'll get a different version of the truth than you've ever experienced before if you get all your news from corporate news. All right, I hope to see you tomorrow, and please subscribe even though they won't notify you, and please share with other people and keep on burning.
Get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Come get on board the Bernie or Bust train. Once you hear that clickety-clack, there ain't no time for turning back. Oh, get on board